It is still the most misunderstood, misapplied word in the business vocabulary. But if you truly are serious about growing your company or your career, you will want to know the true definition of a brand right here on the Reinvention Chronicles. Conclusively by the CBC story that broke last week, a brand once and for all is really not defined by its logo. It's really got nothing to do with colors, fonts, Pantones, things like graphics, design, advertising campaigns, or slick marketing taglines and slogans dreamed up by expensive ad agencies and marketing companies. No, a brand is a story. It's a story embedded in the mind of the market. It's a definition I discovered a number of years ago from a book written by Karen Post called Brain Tattoos. A brand is a story embedded in the mind of the market.
And this is one of the hardest things for people to interpret, is to forget about the product or service or the career or profession that they're into and realize, oh my goodness, no, it's about the story. And the story could be about many things. It could be a story about being cool, being hip, being part of the in crowd. Yeah, the story could be one about self-esteem. It could be a story about reliability. It could be a story about sex and love. It could be a story about sin. It could be a story about changing the world or change. It could be a story about personal pride, rebel pride, machines that move the earth, what moves them. Could be a story about interesting men, fast women, the boy inside the man, and gods of thunder who are larger than life.
And in the case of a certain Canadian bank, this past week, that story could be good. It could be bad, but either way, it's a story that people are going to share. And in many cases, as this bank has found out, bad news does travel fast. See, since the beginning of time, people have never, ever sat around a coffee shop and talked about companies and their products and services and their features, advantages, and benefits, or their mission statements, or exclaimed, oh, honey, it's Patrick on the phone and he got life insurance. Those things are not what people discuss. Ordinary people, real people. I mean, they could be talking about things like the bad drivers on the 401. They could be talking about the Calgary Flames' impressive winning streak. They could be talking about any number of things, but they will all be rooted in the foundation of a story. Now, the great thing, if you're building a business brand, a personal brand in terms of your career, you don't have to be a Fortune 500 company to be able to do this. You don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be anyone special, but you do have to have a story to share. If a brand is a story embedded in the mind of the market, what happens? If you have a real good story and basically next to nothing to work with in terms of an ad budget, can that story still get out, still get shared? Let's go down the street and find out. See, a great example of a brand being a story embedded in the mind of the market happens right here. Ron Craft Auto Care, corner of Huron and Clark in London, Ontario, where yes, they go out and pump the gas, but they also have dog treats right at the pumps for your favorite four-legged friend. Because Ron Craft figured out a number of years ago that people would actually go out of their way just to come and get their gas here, and the business consequently exploded. Didn't require any big advertising campaign or anything like that, but it once again demonstrates that a brand is a story embedded in the mind of the market. People will actually share that story. They will come from far and wide. So much so that the business that once pumped 500,000 liters of gas a year, pre-dog treats, is now nearing the 3 million mark in terms of liters per year. And what Ron Kraft really demonstrates is that the story is simply who you are, your character, and what you do in terms of your actions. I'll say it again. A brand is really nothing more than who you are in terms of your character and what you do in terms of your actions. That combination, character and actions, is what creates your brand reputation. Like the cool blue light. Whether it's a good story or a bad story, either way, the audience is going to share that story on your behalf. So if you are serious about building a business brand or a personal brand, a nonprofit brand, you want to make sure that the stories an audience shares are good ones. The point of this video blog was not to kick someone while they're down or rub salt in the wound, but merely it was a great illustration of what the CBC unveiled last week in terms of what a brand really is, the true definition being a story all about character and actions and how that equates to reputation, and less so about fancy schmancy marketing gimmicks or tactics or things like logos, graphics. We're talking about the stuff that really drives the business. Now, I thought we could do a bit of an experiment here on the Reinvention Chronicles. If this definition about a brand being a story embedded in the mind of the market makes sense to you, share the post and two things are going to happen. Number one, it just might send a message to some of the bigger institutions, maybe even certain banks, about the kind of business behavior, the kind of ethics that people, customers, an audience just won't tolerate. But number two, it also might give a boost to a well-deserving little guy, a guy like Ron Kraft, and also send a clear message about the kind of behavior from companies that people really resonate with, appreciate, and admire. Some thoughts to help you recreate and reimagine the business, the brand, the career that you deserve.